Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, or wherever you are from the globe. This is the global kickoff of ISG Staff Excellence Program 24. My name is Heiko Henkes, and I'm a principal analyst at ISG, also a director in charge of the ISG Staff Excellence Program and running large parts of the ISG Provider Lens program. Today's webinar is all about customer experience, and we are so thrilled to see so many registrations. So it means that the topic is hot, and I want to dive in and let's get started. We have people with me here today, and we have a strong agenda, of course. So I'm not alone. We have guest stars, we have experienced analysts, and we have the project manager of Staff Excellence with us today. And when you look at the agenda, we start with the program coverage. We dive into some insights, really fantastic insights we gained in 23. We want to speak about the customer experience winners, the award winners in 23. We will also show some awards that the providers can gain in 24. We will speak about how Provider Lens analysts leverage the customer experience information. We speak about key initiatives for 24 and, of course, how to engage with ISG and specifically Staff Excellence. We will also mention some key dates. And last but not least, we will open up for Q&A. So let's start with program coverage. This is one of the most important things to my heart, to be honest. It's the voice of the customer program that we run here. It's all about client experience. It's all about the voice of the customer and client centricity. It's not our opinion or what we do here. It's just a professional way on how to collect the voice of the customer. It's going through an online survey, which is open throughout the year. We have a quite simple survey, which takes about 10 to 15 minutes per enterprise to answer to our questions, which is basically about the overall, let's say, relationship and partnership, and specifically about the, let's say, implementation success and satisfaction with a particular technology, whether it's ITO or BPO. It's pretty simple. It's via slider. There is a score you can provide from 0 to 100. This is what we call enterprise customer experience. And we've designed that whole program in a way that it's also, let's say, meaningful on one hand, but on the other hand, of course, helpful for us to guide providers further, so to meet the client needs and to become a real partner, which matters the most. And therefore, we have defined 6 pillars of customer experience, and it starts with collaboration and transparency. We have governance and compliance. We have execution and delivery. Still, if I'm not wrong, the most important pillar out of the 6, we have innovation and thought leadership. Currently at the end from a ranks perspective, so not so important for clients, but on the other hand, it is because some clients don't see the innovation degree and thought leadership of their partners as they would love to, so they don't expect as much as they could probably or should. We have people and cultural fit as one of the major pillars, and last but not least, business continuity and flexibility. That was a pillar we introduced in 21. And so this side of the program somehow defines the overall customer experience score. This is super important because it tells you how, let's say, healthy the partnership is and the relationship between the client and the provider, let it be a service provider or a technology provider. And on the right side, you see specific, we call them internally direct scores, scores for specific technologies. Yeah, and we have 3 major categories where we ask clients to rate providers in. One is ITO, one is BPO, and the third one is the ecosystem service track, which we have in our studies. We gave some examples here. So we have ADM as one of the most important pillars, for instance, really also fantastic change from 22 to 23. So clients really count on ADM services and respective providers, tools, platforms And you saw what happened in 23 with the rise of AI that also disrupted this particular category in the ITO space. All eyes are over there. Cybersecurity also super important, but there are many others, cloud, analytics, you name it, plus the BPO section, plus the whole ecosystem section where we cover all the major ISVs, independent software vendors and technology providers and their ecosystem services. So also here, service providers that serve clients in terms of consulting, implementation, managed services, and all the other important things that matter for being successful in using, let's say, an AWS platform. But of course, we have others. There's Microsoft, there's SAP, there is ServiceNow, and Workday, and everyone that is of importance is supposed to be covered here in our program. So it's really, really big what we have here in front of us. And these stats that you see here just tell a good story. It's a broad and rich enterprise coverage, which we had in 23, and we aim for even more in 24 because the path is looking upwards here. The responses for service providers, you see, we have had almost 2/3 pure play IT providers. We have also some pure play BPO providers and a good portion of ITO and BPO service providers, which we have in scope, plus all the major technology providers as well. Yeah, so we cover them as well because on the technology provider side, customer experience matters, in an equal way, of course. We got responses from all across the globe. We have had Americas, EMEA, and APAC, and the distribution looks quite nicely. A little bit of a bigger portion here in EMEA. Don't know where it comes from. I'm based in Germany. But we serve clients with also fantastic industry insights, and we got a lot for CPT, retail, banking, or BFSI, and business services, plus all the others. You will hear from Mernal in a couple of minutes, more insights on how these clients tick these days and how they rate providers in terms of customer satisfaction, respectively experience. And on the right side, you see the distribution across these categories I mentioned. What I spared out so far was the emerging technology section, where we last year included AI as well. This is also super important. I think we had almost 2,300 enterprises providing all these answers to ITO, BPO, emerging technology, and IC ecosystem services. So thank you for everyone that helped us to get these insights, because they are super important for us to serve our clients internally, the advisors, the analysts, and everyone is looking out for rock solid customer experience data, as well as enterprises in terms of patterns we see for providers, their partners. So this is also something that matters for us, despite the quality checks we have in place. So some might ask themselves, how can they control the data? How is it ensured that no one else, let's say maybe also from the provider side, logs in and manipulates the survey? So we do, of course, random checks. We can't check every response. We check every response with regards to the ratings. So that is what we do. So if someone provides all zeros or just 100s, and moves the slider always to the right side, this is then the case where we reach out to the client, or at least ask the provider if we can, because we don't trust such answers. So if an answer looks suspicious, we sort them out or flag them at least, and we go after them. We check also public sources such as LinkedIn and other networks that are available to really see if that's a real person behind that works on the enterprise side. And from that perspective, of course, we have also some screener questions and see whether, let's say, a high score that someone provided for the 6 pillars or for a particular technology is then in line with the final recommendation. So all of that is there. And with that, I want to hand over to Mernal, who shares a little bit of an insight of what we learned from 23. Mernal.
Thanks, Heiko. Hello, everyone. So when we talk about the enterprise customer experience insights from the year 2023, which was really the year which was full of global geopolitical and macroeconomic challenges, we have to look at the different scenarios and different factors that impact enterprise decisions with respect to their IT strategy and business processes. Next slide, please. So when we look at the enterprise customer experience with these macroeconomic challenges, we believe that and we refer to the work that we do with enterprise client. We as ISG have seen that enterprise clients are re-evaluating and reassessing their strategies, and that has led to not so clearly defined expectations with respect to IT and BPO services as far as the experience part is concerned. So on the other hand, the service providers are working very strongly with the latest technologies, be it automation, analytics, and now AI, that they can help their customers address their most immediate pain points effectively. So, uh, since the expectation of the experience is not that much, a little improvement leads to great results. The average enterprise customer experience score for the top 60 providers that we track in ISG Provider Lens reports stands at 68.9, which is about 10% higher than last year. The average importance score for the six pillars that Heiko spoke about have increased marginally, and so has the satisfaction score for all the six CX pillars. And the highest and the lowest customer experience that we have received for service providers around 95 and 35. Of course, there are providers who have been rated very highly, and there are some providers who have not been rated so fairly by their enterprise customers. Next slide, please. So we have to talk about AI. This is the hottest topic of our times. AI is disruptive. It is definitely important and brings a lot of changes in the operational aspects of enterprises. But how it is impacting the enterprise customer experience? So in the survey, we ask enterprise clients to rate their experience with their service providers for their AI services. And not so surprisingly, what we see is that clients need help. And with this latest technology, which has a lot of potential, clients need some hand holding. So the service providers who have very strong focus in consulting, they have been rated very strongly by their enterprise clients and based on their experience with them. So they have been rated for their consulting capabilities. There are service providers who offer both IT BPO services, but also offer consulting as part of implementation. They have also been rated quite strongly by their enterprise clients compared to the service providers who only offer pure play BPO or pure play ITO services. The mid-tier service providers are also able to showcase some differentiated offerings and differentiated case study with their enterprise clients, and their score is slightly higher than the pure play ITO service providers. So in a nutshell, AI requires your clients to have some help in the form of consulting and advisory. I think that's where service providers must focus on. Next slide, please. So when we look at the customer experience insights from different regions perspective, we see that the regions and the regions which are growing rapidly, such as Asia Pacific, where service providers are also focusing strategically, and the enterprise clients are also growing rapidly. Those regions are having a high customer experience compared to other regions. Especially clients in Australia have rated their service providers extremely high for their experience with their IT and BPO services. On the other hand, the global geographies such as North America and Europe, which have seen outsourcing, they have experienced outsourcing. The outsourcing market is pretty matured in these geographies. The expectation of the clients in these regions are very high. So service providers more often than not are not able to meet those expectations. So we will see more traction in the emerging geographies. That's why Asia Pacific is kind of leading this pack. Go to the next slide, please. And similar kind of insights we can generate from the industry perspective. When we look at different industry verticals for the customer experience, we see that the industry verticals which were averse to modern technologies or were slow to adopt the technologies, you talk about public sector or manufacturing for that matter, the clients from these industry verticals have rated their service providers very strongly. They're very satisfied with their services. And some industry verticals such as financial services, pharmaceutical, healthcare, these clients are looking at the possibilities that the latest technology offer to them, be it analytics, AI, automation, and service providers are doing a great job satisfying these providers. So clients from these verticals have also rated their providers pretty good. From certain industry verticals like oil and gas, insurance, CPG, power utilities, the customer experience is kind of at an average level. It's not much change compared to last year. For certain industry verticals such as travel, transportation, telecom, media, and retail, some of these verticals witnessed huge disruption because of the pandemic, and now they are facing a lot of other disruption because of technological changes, be it metaverse, be it AI, be it automation. So the expectation from the clients in these verticals are extremely high. They want their providers to be more innovative, and service providers, although doing a great job, are somewhere falling behind the expectation. That's why these clients from these verticals have given the lowest CX score for their service providers. If we look at the customer experience from pure technology perspective, and we compare the services from the BPO side and the ITO side, like Heiko spoke about. So I want to make clear that when we talk about the BPO services, we are not talking about just the regular contact center, BPO, HRO services. Under BPO, we also include services such as digital engineering. So for example, contact center is one of the BPO services which has gained a lot of traction because of the changes and disruption in AI. And similarly, digital engineering caters to enterprise clients' requirement with respect to new product development and R&D. We have seen a lot of traction in that space, and service providers are working very strongly towards these areas, and they have great case studies, great client success stories, and these have contributed to higher satisfaction for those BPO services. And a couple of these services have brought the score of average BPO services CX to an extremely high level. On the other hand, for the ITO services, to Heiko's point about application development and maintenance, so this area has seen much of traction because of AI and the low code, no code capabilities adoption. So those kind of services have seen more traction and high customer experience score. However, there are certain legacy and matured IT infrastructure services, you can say, for example, data center outsourcing or digital workplace, where providers have not received a great satisfaction score from their clients. So bringing the overall average ITO services customer experience score a little down. BPO services are more close to business operations, so they are leading this pack, but ITO services are also catching up, especially with the usage of new and latest technologies. If we compare the customer experience score, since in our survey we asked this question which role the respondent belongs to, and we analyze the customer experience score by different business roles, we'll see an interesting scenario. As I mentioned in the previous slide, that BPO service providers are getting higher CX score compared to the ITO ones, and I think this slide alludes to that. So the non-IT horizontal business functions, and by which we mean the HR function, the legal, sales, marketing, service providers serving these clients are doing a good job, and business leaders from these areas have rated their service providers very strongly compared to the IT and other shared services areas. The vendor management and procurement function has always been a favorite business function for service providers. Service providers do a great job in managing those relationships, and this function in particular has always rated service providers very positively. The ITO and other shared services area have also rated clients very strongly, but not as high as compared to the non-IT business functions. A very important point is that in our interaction with service providers, we often hear from them that they are bringing services that can tackle the line of business challenges. However, our data shows that the line of business leaders remain unimpressed. Providers still need to do a lot of job to bring in real value differentiation that line of business leaders can appreciate and provide high customer experience. So with that high level of insights from the CX Research 2023, I'll hand it back to Heiko. He will talk about the leaders of last year's award. Thank you.
Thank you, Mena. So that was really insightful. Thanks. Really fantastic insights, specifically about the line of business insights, because this is where the budget sits these days. So this is something every provider should think about, how to enter this kind of buying center. And these winners have a good idea how to do that. The winners you see over here achieved the big awards from 23, Accenture, HCL Tech, TCS, the overall Staff Excellence Service Provider Award, which is really not so easy to get because All the 6 pillars scores needs to be high. You need to be well versed with more than 75% of all the industries, regions, and technologies we have in scope in our program. So achieving that award means really something. Similarly, on the right side, where it's the technology provider award, which went to AWS in 23. So congratulations over there. AWS also from the beginning, very customer-centric, the organization. And underneath on the left side, you see also the Universal ITO and BPO award. So 2 times that thing went to HCL. So congratulations, really strong final end of 23, if you ask me, because it means that customers do not just get, let's say, the latest and greatest technology. And HCL Tech is, of course, from its roots an engineering company. We're now reference to the need to, to be really up to speed in terms of digital engineering with digital twins and metaverse environments and whatever is in that bucket. So they serve clients with fabulous ITO services as well as BPO services. So they have a good understanding on how to marry technology and business components, respectively, the necessary process know-how that you need to have per industry. So really great. Hexaware as well on the lower left end, you see Hexaware winning the Universal Emerging Technology Award. That means that Hexaware can guide clients really flawlessly in terms of how to adopt, how to make use of new technology, how to bring it into production. Yeah. So all of that is really great on Hexaware side, and ITC Infotech on the right side won the Universal ISV Ecosystem Services Award. So that means they scored really high across all the major ISVs and technology providers in terms of guiding clients, consulting, implementation, managed services. And last but not least, on the right side, the Universal Industry Award, which went to Persistent, really great achievement. That means that from an industry perspective, clients were super happy with Persistent. That means also that they understand the needs and pains of a particular industry, and not just one, but more than 2/3 of all the industries we have in scope, plus Genpact, the Universal Region Award. We had many more awards in 23. They were, let's say, on a lower level, and we will change a little bit the way how we provide the awards in 24. Here you see some nice pictures from friends, colleagues, business partners from the London Gala Award, the Sourcing Industry Conference, which we had in November. And I really invite all of you to be our guests over there, because it's a fantastic happening to sit together and to celebrate the success, and everything throughout the year that you went through, to relax a little bit and shine in a bright light all together with a team that achieved something together. So these are some nice pics, and I really hope to see all of you in 24 in a similar kind of environment when we have the 24 award categories. So you see, we continue what, let's say, proved to be right in the past. So we still have the overall service provider awards, where we announce the top 3 winners. We will have a technology provider award. We have the universal awards, summary somehow of client testaments, high scores across ITO, across BPO, or the emerging technologies which we have in scope. Also the industries plus all the regions. In particular regions, we still have also in scope, plus a new, let's say, section, which we call the 6 Pillar Awards. You have seen them at the beginning where I explained the program coverage. We believe that it's time to call out the winners of a particular section when it's about the customer experience pillar, because you can be proud if clients rate you, let's say, above all others in terms of execution and delivery, or when it's about collaboration and transparency, or maybe also in terms of innovation and thought leadership. So we see really quite often requests on our table from enterprises. Hey, we are not so happy with our current provider. We search for someone that is a little bit more innovative and brings, in thought leadership And that is something I would proceed with if I would win such an award. And the, let's say, other awards which we had per technology, we will continue as well. That's for sure, but in a different way. So we will announce them on hook of the IPLs which we have throughout the year. More to come on these awards. Now over to Pedro to share some insights about how to make use of the customer experience data we collect.
Thank you very much, Heiko, and thank you for inviting me for the presentation. I think it's a great opportunity to show clients how we use the CX scores and what their effort is. Other than the awards, we use the CX score for everything that we do now in the IPL. So all the quadrants that we create, we use the CX scores. I've been 7 years with ISG, and it's more than 40 years in IT. Of this, it's about 30 years doing sourcing, so helping clients decide. And customer satisfaction is by far one of the most important things that a provider needs to have. A high score is really your opportunity to show new clients, new prospects. You can refer to existing clients and say, I have happy clients. Clients don't go away. They stay with me for many years. So CX is really crucial for business success. And what's really important about this methodology is that it is neutral point of view. It's based on client responses. You don't have any interference or any impact from what the provider is saying. Is really client talking about you, and that gives me trust, that allows me to defend your position on a slide on the quadrant based on the CX score, because I know that if clients are happy, I can recommend your company to other clients. And that's not only the quadrant, but also how we recommend clients in using your services. So for those that are not don't know the quadrant, you have a higher position on the quadrant if you have a bigger or higher portfolio attractiveness. Portfolio is everything that you can deliver to a client. It can be geographies, it can be functional portfolio, number of services, etc. So you may have a high portfolio, but not have the capacity to deliver that portfolio to a large number of companies. So that comes the competitive strength, which is moving your company to the right requires improving your ability to deliver to that portfolio to more clients. And CX is counted in that direction. The better results you have, more to the right you get. So it can impact 3 to 5% on your position with a maximum impact of 9%. If you're already a leader, that difference is not big, but if you're close to the center line, if you can move from product challenger to a leader, just by having a better CX score. So if you have a good portfolio and a good CX score, you have better chances to become leaders. So this information, because it's neutral, it provides us this confirmation. I may have seen your briefing and find your offering very, very good, but what is what you're saying what clients want? And when we have higher customer satisfaction, we say, okay, that's resonating to clients. That offering is really resonating. We also help me in understanding difference between providers. So you can imagine that clients may ask, why should I go with company A and company B? They are so close in their position in the leader quadrant or whatever position they have. They are offering the same things. Why should I choose A and not B? And then perhaps the CX score is the differentiation, is the reason to take the opportunity. We also check when you're providing the answer, we check the relevance of the responses. So how many responses you have. If you have a high score and a high number of responses, then it means it's really consistent with reality. If you have a small number of responses with high CX score, we may still have doubts. Are we having a good sample of that company? So please, when you participate in provider land studies, send the invitations for clients to respond the questionnaire, to respond to the survey as soon as possible. because we can calculate and consider the responses in 1 week after the response. So if we are starting a study right now and your client starts responding, when we put together the quadrant grid, we can consider those responses. So it's important that you take action as soon as you have an invitation to participate in the study. Even if you're not planning to respond to the survey questionnaire, to the provider lens questionnaire, because you don't have resources or whatever, still we may have your client's response and consider that in your favor. So please do that as soon as possible. And as I said, it supports us all throughout the process. We have the qualification process for our advisors that are running RFPs, and they come to us and ask, what's the short list? The results that we have from the IPL survey is what we use to help them put together a short list. So CX is also helping you when we are providing clients assessments and providing clients guidance in which providers to choose. I think that's very comprehensive. And again, my invitation is please participate. It helps us a lot and give us keep us more confident that we can position your company in a good place. So back to you, Heiko. Thank you.
Thank you, Pedro. That was great. It's just the truth what you said, and I can't stress that point enough. Also, being an analyst for many years now, and was also rating providers in such a great and positioning in provider in quadrants. When I had no such data at hand, I reached out to everyone just to get an idea of how clients think of a provider. And of course, you can then reach out to advisors that dealt with the service provider in a sourcing engagement or later down the road. But you will also reach out to the open web somehow, and there you see most often clients complaining. So it's not a neutral base to get a good insight on how clients think of a provider. And there are also other angles I'd like to discuss together with Manal in the next session, our new, let's say, key initiatives for 24. And let's get started. One of the things we want to introduce in 24 is a new badge for the customer experience star performer. This comes on hook of every IPL we start, respectively release throughout the year. So there's a really extensive list. We have an annual plan, so you can see what waits for you, how many of such star performer badges will be available. And I think it's a great opportunity to show on a, let's say, study level that you're great and that clients really think well of you. Yeah, so this is a fantastic opportunity. And we also decided to call them out in each press release that comes out for the IPL. So we also advertise this for you. Of course, you can use this in your in the marketing campaigns, just as let's say a proof of someone that is independent, that you've done something right with respect to, let's say, e-mobility or ADM or digital adoption, organizational change management, whatever it is. We have tons of services in place. So the ones that scored highest will receive that award. Stay tuned for this new type of award. And with that, last but not least, I forget to mention about the number of client responses we need for that badge. It is as Pedro said. So the more responses you have, the more robust the customer experience score gets, and the more reliable it is, and the more people will refer to that number and carve it out and bring it up to the surface. And then it's maybe exactly that important point that makes you being a leader or being on a long list or winning the deal. So just that you understand this, we try the best to go after each and every provider we know. We position most often in our provider lens studies, but we can't cover all the providers. So you're really invited to activate your clients. Let's speak how to do this best. We have several different ways how you can do this. And Donston, who is going to speak to you at the end of the session, will help you also to understand how to stay in touch with us and how to make that happen. Thanks. Manal, now you with the briefing notes, please.
Yeah, thanks, Heiko. So another thing that we are introducing this year is the ISG Star of Excellence briefing note. Now, when we do these surveys, there are multiple cases where, as Heiko mentioned, that there are cases where clients give the extreme 100 scores for their service providers, which is, to Heiko's point, is not usual. So it may be true, like service providers may be doing a great job in that leads to that clients being very satisfied with that provider. In those cases, we would like to talk to the client to validate that response, and if not the client, the service provider team that serves the client. So what the briefing note will do, the briefing with the customer will be around the success of that case study. What was the client problem? What was the solution that the provider provided? What led to such a high customer experience or CX differentiation for that service provider? Now, this is not limited to only those responses where a provider receives a 100 score. If a provider believes that there is a client success story which is an example of the client centricity, ISG will be happy to talk to the client, and or the service provider team that serves the client to know about that story will be happy to talk about that, highlight your CX differentiator, which can be which is a very good value add for you to market on. And this briefing note will talk about specifically one client success story and will highlight your CX differentiation. So that's another thing that we are doing. We are doing a lot of interaction with the providers, and this is an area that you may be very interested in. Next one, Heiko, back to you.
Thank you, Manal. Yeah, and it allows us as well to confirm that it's really like the enterprise entered in our survey. So it's a great opportunity for us to speak to the client management team, the let's say account managers, yeah, plus the client that received the survey. So this is also, in context of our quality control, very important for us. And here you see also another, let's say, opportunity for you. Once we speak and once, let's say, you have clients that enter the customer experience score, we get tons of information and we can show you where you stand in context of, let's say, the top industry. We can, share the demographical aspects of the clients that responded to our survey. We can also on the bottom right side, let's say, prioritize the enterprise customer experience pillars, so to say, and also what clients like most on your end. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean that the other ones or the other answering possibilities that didn't make it into that table here are, let's say, beyond below average, but it's definitely a good sign for you to see what works very well. On the other hand, we have definitely, and we will come to that, also other formats that help you to understand where you need to improve. But I just wanted to share this with you because it's a new development to show you the specific study score on the left side, which can be very technology specific. Yeah, we call out also a client quote because we asked them as well to provide some let's say qualitative insights, which is maybe the most important or most interesting thing to see how clients speak about you. And let's say a nice quote will be brought up to the surface here inside such kind of handouts which we've developed for you. So it's a nice piece which is crowded, maybe too crowded already, and contains a lot of information and tells you a lot of insights about your clients and how they think of you these days. Yeah. So, Manal.
Yeah.
Please.
So Pedro spoke a lot about how ISG provider lens analysts are leveraging the CX insights, and it's high time that since we have been collecting this information for a long time, now we are trying to introduce a CX chapter in the ISG provider lens quadrant. So provider lens quadrants, as you all know, cover the capability part of the providers, the enterprise requirement side. So with CX chapter, we are also including the customer experience part in the quadrant reports. This specific chapter will talk about the client roles, the regions, the industries which are the most and the least satisfied with respect to that particular topic or service line. We'll also talk about the CX pillar, the 6 CX pillar that Heiko spoke about, that which one is more important for that particular service line. For example, cybersecurity, it could be governance and compliance. So we'll talk about that. The most important information out there, although all of it is important, is the average CX score for that particular topic. So what is the CX score on an average that providers have received, the highest and lowest one. We'll also talk about the service delivery model, which is the most preferred by enterprise customers. Like, is it on-site, is it near shore, offshore, based on the, because that is a question we ask in our survey, and that's what we will mention in this specific chapter. We'll also have a section which highlight the key customer sentiments in the form of a word cloud. So this chapter will now be part of all quadrant reports for all specific study, and we hope that it provides more insights for the reader, not just from the provider capability perspective, but also what clients are experiencing. Heiko, back to you for the webinar.
Thanks, Mena. Just a small addition. The chapter will contain also the possibility for the provider that wins the Star Performer Award to add a second page, which is then all about their specific customer experience score and achievements. Therefore, we start the chapter with a broader overview of how the market ticks, let's say in terms of mainframe services or ADM or whatever you pick and choose. And the second one would then be really a customized one. And so it is with our webinar offering, which is a great, let's say, good chance for the provider to shine in a bright light through ISG as an independent party who sets the stage. But clients are definitely also equally invited to join such a webinar. And we can have a lively discussion about experiences and the latest and greatest insights. So this is a new format which we want to bring to the street, and we are happy to discuss this with you, with enterprises, with providers. Most important is that we speak with each other and that the world understands where someone is really doing very, very well. Yeah, and with that, I hand over to Manal to share something about the benchmark and the insights reports.
So the CX benchmark and insights report are not a new offering that we introduced this year. We have been doing it for a while. So the benchmark reports really highlight the customer experience score for a particular provider in comparison with the industry average. So these reports we have been doing it for quite some time. Some of you have leveraged these reports for your marketing. So these reports dive into your CX score by industries, by regions, and compare that with the top 60 or the average customer experience score by service providers. We also offer an insights workshop, which basically dives deep into the areas where clients have not rated you well. So many providers have come back to us asking us that, although that is great that my client has rated me well, but can you tell me the areas where I was not rated well compared to my competition? So we do these insights workshop. In fact, we have done many insights workshops with many of these providers over the course of these years, in which we dive deep into those areas. We also look at, we can also customize it by specific competitors that you want to compare against, and we also provide a recommendation based on the customer experience score that you can take back to with your team, some action item that you can work on. So these initiatives continue, and we continue to offer those irrespective of your positioning in the ISG provider lens, but highly encourage you to make use of these reports. And with that, I think we need to go to the next section.
Before we do this, just a little addition to what you said. It's all correct. It's just that the benchmark report can be also used if all is positive, of course, as a vehicle within the marketing campaign. Yeah, for lead generation. So if you are an enterprise client and you see such a report, you know how to look at such a report. It's really a report that has been collected in the most independent way that's possible. On the right side, the Insights Workshop is really a fantastic format, and we are improving there. Therefore, we have it here in the initiatives for 24. We are improving it in terms of carving also up to the surface which type of client or business role you need to address in what kind of way. And also we take into consideration what a particular shoring mix was, to serve clients in ADM or mainframe. So we think of that as well, and we tell you maybe where others excel based on certain variables that they've changed. So all of that is part of the Insights Workshop, which we want to do together with you, of course. And now we have no time to lose. Over to Dunstan. How to engage with us.
Hello, everyone. We have almost come to the end of this webinar, and I will be sharing about how you could engage with us. And you may nominate your clients via our ISG portal while filling out your RFI you will notice a designated section requesting for your customer references. You can fill in your client details, and we will send out an email to them with a survey link via our Star of Excellence email ID. That is star@cx.isg-1.com. And you may also nominate your clients through our website. You can click on the nominate button on the homepage, and it will take you to the web form through which you can nominate your clients. And it is also important to note that enterprise clients can also participate and share their feedback through our website. And you could check your nomination status through our online dashboard, or you may also reach out to us, and we will be happy to share the nomination status with you any given day. And with that, let's move on to the key dates. Today is that important day, 2024 Global Kickoff. And in April, we released the Quarter 1 CX Insights report that provides insights on CX among enterprises with their ITO and BPO service providers and across industry verticals. In July, we released the second quarter report that provides insights on enterprise CX for managed service providers for diverse ITO and BPO services. In September, we will have a second webinar. It's going to be about 2024 Global Program Update and Countdown to 2024 Awards. And at the end of September, we conclude the feedback collection process for the 2024 awards. In October, we release third quarter CX Insights, a report that focuses on customer experience across regions. In November is the highlight. ISG awards the providers in a special ceremony. And Jan will release what Brunal took us through earlier, the annual ISG CX Insight report that offers a comprehensive analysis of customer experience spanning across various technologies, industries, and geographical areas. Please note that we will recognize providers with highest CX score in every IPL throughout the year. With that, we can move on to Q&A, and I request to bring everyone onto the screen.
Thank you, Dunstan. Perfect. This is the end of our kickoff webinar. I hope you found it exciting. So for us, it's a great journey. It highlights the paramount importance of customer experience. And are there any questions?
So there is one question about validity of the responses. Mm-hmm. What is the validity of the responses submitted by the clients?
Shall we go back? Where did we have this? Was it at the end of my session, right? So we look at each and every data point, that's for sure. We cross-check them, as I explained. So we look, does it make sense what the respondent told us at the beginning of the survey? High scores, for instance, in terms of people and cultural fit, or when it's about a particular technology. And then at the end of the survey, do they really recommend the provider, or is the qualitative response where we ask them about what went good, what went not so well with the provider, is that all in line? Yeah, so this is something we take care of. We take care of as well to flag responses we share with advisors or providers in workshops where we have maybe a thin database to make sure they understand, hey, it's maybe not representative, but to be honest, the collection went in the most unbiased way that's possible, and so even one or two responses are sometimes really of high value, especially when we go after the client and when you consider how we collected the information. So if I would need to look and rely on a response from Star of Excellence, maybe just with one or two enterprises behind, I would still think, okay, that's a trusted source, and I would proceed with that. So far in terms of the validation of the responses which we have.
Yeah, that's how we validate the response, and the responses submitted by clients remain valid for an yearly cycle. I think we have that Heiko mentioned in the eligibility criteria for the star performer. that the star performer responses will be valid in a yearly cycle from one IPL to the next release of that IPL.
True. We have a large pool of data insights spanning across years in the meantime, and we definitely always refresh the set of data that we have. On the other hand, we make sure that our advisors and clients are served with the most current data that we have available and at hand. That's also for sure. But the span across years allows us to show also trends in terms of client experience. And this is also super important to understand whether a provider is looking towards the right side of life and services, or if they're maybe struggling a little bit. I think we have another question, don't we? Yeah, can a provider submit multiple projects delivered for a single enterprise if they were all delivered to different stakeholders? Minal, would you like to answer?
Yes, absolutely. I think if there are multiple stakeholders, especially if they are from multiple geographies, we would highly encourage you to nominate them, because ISG research, if you track ISG provider lens, we have reports for different regions, and same way we believe that customer experience for same client stakeholders sitting in different geographies can be different. So yes, if they are in different geographies, please feel free to nominate them separately.
Yeah. There's a question, how much does registration cost? So there are no costs. It's just a little bit of effort to nominate clients. I know that sometimes it's a little bit more of an invest, because you may need to, from a provider's perspective, to, let's say, explain things to your account management. The account management then reaches out to the client. The client needs to understand why it's important for the provider to get such a rating. And many providers have their own NPS and customer experience programs up and running. But it's a different thing if such an independent party reaches out to clients, which is why we believe we are right where we are. And so I strongly suggest to register, respectively nominate clients. It shouldn't be too complicated. You have two options these days. You can simply approach our Staff Excellence website. There's a participate button, which every enterprise can use right away without any problem. But we can't track the response over there. If you invite someone through the platform which we offer, we are able to track it. That's what Donson referred to. So we have a dashboard where you can see whether the enterprise responded or not. But we keep the names of the enterprises just for that moment in the dashboard, and we delete them afterwards, because the study is somehow designed in a way to allow enterprises to stay anonymous, which is super important for us. What matters in the end is to, especially when you have more responses, to be sure to come back to a certain type of client. Therefore, I mentioned the demographical aspects which we bring more into play than ever before. So what type of company was it? A big client, a small client, out of which industry, maybe the region. All of that matters when you want to become better, but not the client name specifically. Yeah. But if a client wants to, even that's possible. Talk to us. You can leverage the platform to provide your feedback in case there's no other alternative for you to express the needs and pains you have in the relationship with the provider, and then we can speak on how we convey the message and how we sit together on one table, because we want to help you to improve the relationship so that the provider becomes the real partner for you. So that's our aim. This is what the platform does. We have more questions here.
Yeah. There are a couple of questions. I think this is good. Yeah, last year there were subcategories emerging tech for individual awards. Is continue since there is now individual ones for IPL.
Yes, these will be
Heiko?
these will be continued. That's for sure, definitely. And what else do we have? We have how to validate that the client is actually a client of the service provider. That's a good question. I mean, in the end, if the reference client or the referral comes from the provider itself, I think it's pretty clear that no provider would nominate a client they didn't cater to. On the other hand, we of course ask so many clients, as I shared with you. I think more than 1,000 enterprises we go after on our end. In the end, it's the rule of the large number that tells us if the client is really, let's say, a trusted client, if that all makes sense. On the other hand, we have a good idea of which, let's say, provider serves clients in which domain and with what kind of technology. And if someone selects something where we believe it's weird because it doesn't make sense, we don't know the provider for such an answer, we look after the portfolio developments and we are in continuous exchange with the provider. We see whether they include that in the portfolio, and if not, we drop the response, of course.
Yeah, in addition, when the client respondent takes the survey, they see that, of course, as Heiko mentioned, we do validate that the respondent is actually an enterprise client respondent. And when they're taking the survey, they see the option that X provider has nominated you for that particular study. So that is how the validation happens, that the provider is actually the client. The client is actually a client of that particular provider. And there are a couple of more questions, Heiko, here.
Yeah, how many questions my clients need to respond to by email or phone interview? Good question. I think we have 18 questions, 17 or 18 questions, not too complicated questions. I shared the time that goes into such a survey, so it's up to 15 minutes. But if you're quick, maybe you can do this in 10 minutes. It's an online survey which we have, but as I said, in some cases, especially when you as a provider want to proceed with us in a briefing note format or whatsoever, we decide to go after the client, and we invite you to have a meeting where we approach the client and interview the client afterwards as well, to make sure it's really all the truth what they told us in the survey.
We have another question. What if the responding enterprise wishes to remain anonymous, and the enterprises names will not be referenced, and there is no intention of using enterprise names for any of our reports, and the enterprise has an option to enter or provide their name and email address at the end of the survey, and this is only to validate the response received for Star of Excellence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
question.
The last question is also super important. We have people from around the globe, that's for sure. This is how I started. We don't know if it's morning, evening, afternoon. It depends. We have also recording, so everyone is invited. And we are just about to launch a new language model of our survey. So we will have all sorts of languages covered. So it's not going to be just English, what we offer. We have Portuguese language, we have French, I'm sorry, and all sorts of languages. German is also a part of it. So that will also help your clients to have an easier time to answer our questions. So we cover all of that. And this is a huge step forward for us. And is there another question, by the way?
Yes. Has the SOE nomination process been opened so clients can receive more than one service? Last year, clients could only be nominated for a single service. So there are high chances that one client is being served by a provider for multiple service lines. You can nominate the same client for different service line. It should be possible. Yes.
Yes. In other words, you can also nominate the same client that you nominated in 23, but we won't, let's say, go after the clients automatically that you nominated the year before. So we don't do that. Of course, we don't want to bother your clients. We respect their, let's say, privacy, and so. But yes, you can nominate the same client again. Why not? If that's a good client of yours and you serve them maybe also with different projects now, go ahead and nominate them. Not at all a problem.
Yeah, one question maybe I missed. How are responses normalized? If we get 10 responses and 5 are from junior client team that don't know our service delivery versus the CIO opinion, how do we know, how are the responses normalized? So I think, as I mentioned, that if there are multiple stakeholders within the same firm, please make sure that at least they are from different geographies, so that we have that kind of differentiation. Yes, a response by different business roles also matter, but ISG would be more valuable for us is to get responses from different geographies, so that we know that you're consistently delivering high customer experience across different regions.
And just in addition to what you said, and I think we're on top of the hour, we do this also as a validation check, because we have personas behind the roles. We have an idea of what the expectations are. We also understand what their area of responsibility is, which is also something we bring up to the surface once we do such insights workshops together. Last but not least, we have a new format inside the IPL universe, which is called Strategic Industry Reports. And these reports will also heavily rely on customer experience scores. So more to come and to see pretty soon through the usual channels. Thank you for listening. It was a pleasure. And that's it for today. Thank you. Let's close the session.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.